Welcome to Alignment, the full no bullshit guide to change. In this video, I'm gonna give you everything you need to know about becoming a completely different person in the best way possible, because you're already ahead of most, so congratulations. See, most people continue to live in denial, but not you. You had the humility to click on this video because you're aware that you need to change. You've already taken your first action. So keep this up because you, my friend, are going to go far. See, most people, one, lack awareness. They aren't even aware that they have a problem that needs to be fixed, so the idea of change never crosses their mind, which ends up biting their ass in the future when they realize they wasted their prime years doing nothing useful. And because of that, they now have to live with that regret for the rest of their lives. Or two, they lack courage, right? They're aware, but don't have the courage to fix it and actually change because they would rather cope and live in the comfortable lie than to embrace the harsh truth, which also brings them to the same fate of regret. Then we have people that are in denial. They are so blinded by the ego that they think they don't need to change, when in reality, deep down, they know they could be better, right? But because it's hard, scary, and uncomfortable to actually put in the work and get over their insecurities and change, they choose to cope and live the lie of the ego and waste their time. But you're not most people. You have the humility, courage, and awareness to click on this video and watch it till the end, right? So by the end of all this, I can assure you that you'll have taken your first steps towards becoming your desired selves, right? But in order to do that, you need to understand the reality of change. The reality is that when you think about change, you're probably thinking of going to the gym, building skills, and journaling, or whatever basic advice you heard online, right? But in reality, it doesn't matter how consistent you are in the gym, it doesn't matter how frequent you meditate, and it doesn't matter how many cold showers you take, because at the end of the day, you will still feel empty and unfulfilled because the only thing that'll change is your external appearance, nothing else. And the funny thing is, most people don't even get to that point, so self-improvement is just a huge waste of time. See, if you seek true change and you want to become a brand new person, I hate to break it to you, but it's not gonna happen with the shallow self-help advice you see on the internet. I mean, I assume you've already tried to change before, but you went right back to your old self, which proves my point, right? Nothing was working for me as well, so I had to come up with my own method, and I'm sharing that method with you today in hopes that you can copy me and change. Because at the end of the day, out of all these guys giving out self-improvement advice, I'm probably the closest to you. As in, I'm not some super disciplined, smart, and rich dude. I'm just a normal dude like you, right? The only difference is that I have a 3-year head start. So if it worked for me, it has to work for you. Now, right before we start, first, I want you to know that this video is heavy and it contains life-changing information that you've probably never seen or heard before. And two, I will go pretty deep and it might get uncomfortable. Pause. So if you'd rather listen to shallow motivational advice that doesn't really work, then this video is not for you. And third, if you're the type of guy to consume endlessly and never take action, then this video will solve that. So just try to get to the end of this video, okay? And then 4, you might need to rewatch this whole guide multiple times because the information is literally life-changing and you might misinterpret it at first. So I mean it when I say this. Rewatch it until everything has been ingrained in your brain because this video is the only video you'll ever need to fully change yourself. Now 5, lastly, I have left a special gift for those that watch till the end, so you better watch till the end, guys, all right? So without further ado, if you're genuinely serious about change and you're ready to take on the harsh truths, then it's time to lock in, get your notebook, get a pen, and get ready to take some notes. Let's get right into it. So what I'm going to cover today is part 1, alignment, which is my philosophy for change. Then I'll talk about the core 5. Then we talk about part 2, the identity overhaul, which is about your paradigms, who is at fault, changing your identity, and then the resource. Part 3, we'll talk about reinventing reality, which is another resource, and then the 3 weapons to stay consistent in your journey to change. And part 4 is reality engineering with the surprise gift at the end. So, part 1, the alignment philosophy. What is alignment? Well, alignment is the act of aligning your beliefs, identities, and habits to your desired self. And the core idea behind this philosophy is that it focuses on changing internally before externally, because reality is merely a mirror of your internal world. And this isn't about changing your mindset. It goes much deeper than that, okay? Because we're actually going to kill the current self, figuratively, before becoming the person you always wanted to be by changing internally. Have you ever heard the saying, you don't make $10,000, you become the person that makes $10,000? And this philosophy is basically that, but even deeper. okay? And on top of that, I have combined it with something called the core 5, which makes change easy, okay? So without further ado, let's talk about the core 5. The core 5 is the direct representation of who you are externally, okay? These are the 5 pillars that make up your life. It consists of spiritual, your purpose, values, and connection to something greater. Then we have your mental, your mindset, thoughts, and focus. Then we have physical, your health, fitness, and energy levels. And then we have financial, your ability to earn, manage, and grow money. Then finally, we have social, the quality of your connections and support system. All these things connect to each other. All 5 of these cores are what make up your external life, and it dictates how people perceive you. For example, spiritual, if you're a believer of God, you will come across a certain way to people, right? Same goes if you're an atheist. For the mental core, depending on your mental state, you're gonna carry yourself in a certain way, either depressed, happy, or focused, etc., right? Then we have the physical core. If you've got a good physique, then it's gonna change the perception of how other people see you and also going to influence your overall confidence, right? Then financial, if you've got a lot of money, it's going to change the perception of yourself towards others and drastically change your lifestyle. And then social, if you've got a lot of friends, right? Same thing, you get the point. So what's the use of these cores, right? What's the point of knowing all of this? Well, this is your guide to external change. Because if you want to change into a completely different person or be perceived by other people as a completely different guy, as a changed man, you will need to change every single core in the core 5. And that is crucial, okay? Now, if you're still confused about this, all of this will make sense very soon, so just hang with me here, hang with me. See, the point of the core 5 is to use it as a guide to align your habits, okay? So whatever habits your current self has in each core, we are going to replace completely with the habits of your desired self, which we'll do in part 3. Now, you're probably wondering why, right? Why do we need the core 5? Why don't we just change our habits to a good one or whatever, right? Well, it's largely due to most self-improvement advice on the internet, okay? Most advice doesn't work because it only focuses on 1 or 2 cores. Go to the gym and you'll change into a completely new person. Journal and learn a high-income skill and become unrecognizable. It pisses me off because nothing actually changes other than your body or your bank account. When I first tried to change, I followed this self-help guru who told me to go to the gym and start making money online, which I did. And after 6 months, I had a better body and I had some money, but I was still the same degenerate as before and I felt as lost as ever. So what actually led to real external change was focusing on all 5 cores at the same time. Because each core has its purpose. They work off one another, right? When one core is missing, it's out of alignment, right? So this was me. I was focusing on money, financial, and physical, right? And I still felt empty. I still felt like a loser. I still felt like a degenerate. But then when I started to improve my physical, my mental, my spiritual, my financial, my social life, everything started to connect with one another, and I saw real improvement, right? And I actually changed into a completely different person. My old friends don't even recognize me anymore. So you need to understand that the core 5 is what guides you towards changing into an actual complete different person. But again, none of this actually matters unless you change internally first, okay? Again, you can change as much as you want externally and how people perceive you, but at the end of the day, it's about how you perceive yourself, right? If you still feel like a loser, but everyone else sees you as a cool guy, then it doesn't really matter because you still see yourself as a loser. So you need to change internally first. That is the whole idea of alignment, right? So now you're probably asking, well, Reon, you've explained how to change externally using the core 5, but if changing internally is what really matters, how do we do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's all about to make sense, and you'll realize why alignment is superior to every other method of change. But I'm going to warn you again, we are going to go super deep. Pause. It's going to be uncomfortable, and if you don't have a genuine desire to change, I suggest you stop watching now, okay? The information I'm about to reveal is heavy, and it will help you become unrecognizable, but I only want people who are determined to change for the better, okay? So, if you're still here, part 2, identity overhaul. We're going to rewire your beliefs, shift your paradigms, and change your identity, okay? So, why do you need to change internally first? Well, it's because real change starts internally. When you've been in a destructive cycle for years, whether it's scrolling, smoking, gambling, binge eating, drinking, procrastinating, vaping, whatever negative thing you know you shouldn't be doing, you're not going to change by following the advice that focuses on external change. Because it's going to feel almost impossible when you're not used to being uncomfortable, right? You're not used to being consistent, and you've got years and years of self-doubt, fear, and imposter syndrome weighing you down. You can't go from a guy who loves smoking and drinking to someone who gets his work done, works 12 hours a day, and makes 6 figures in like a day, right? It's almost impossible to do that. So you need to start changing these beliefs internally first. What makes you think that one self-help video is going to give you the secret recipe to change you from a phone-addicted loser to a disciplined Sigma in one day, right? It doesn't work like that. So even if you do manage to take action like I did, all of the negative things holding you back are still going to live with you internally, and you will still have an unfulfilling life. So it doesn't matter if you've changed on the outside. What really matters is how you perceive yourself. Because real change happens when you reinvent your beliefs, paradigms, and identity. This is what the alignment philosophy is all about. And this is what I had to find out the hard way. So why don't these gurus give you the truth when promising change? Well, I'll tell you exactly why, and I'm about to reveal one of their dirty secrets, okay? We all know that these gurus sell courses, and usually these courses are monthly subscriptions. So these gurus want you to stay subscribed as long as possible. Why? Because of money, obviously. So they want you to experience some kind of win to keep you hooked, right? And I mean, if you paid for a fitness course and you don't see any changes after a month, you would most likely cancel the subscription, right? Same principle. In the case of changing into a completely different person, this obviously doesn't happen after a month, and you won't notice any major changes after a month either. So what these gurus do is they give you advice that showcases external change to make you stick around. But as we established before, when you promise change like reinventing yourself or becoming unrecognizable, no matter how much change you see on the outside, you're going to go right back to your old self or still have the bad habits and be empty inside if you don't change internally first, which actually takes time, okay? But guess what? They couldn't give 2 fucks if you change or not. They just want you to stay subscribed as long as possible. That's it. But not me. I genuinely want to see you change, and that's because I see myself in you. And although I may not be telling you what you want to hear, this is the truth. This is what actually works, okay? So all I ask is for you to apply everything in this video and commit to change. And I hope you know I'm not advertising a complete transformation in 30 days. And I'm not here to feed you lies either, okay? Although I'm going to share things that make real change easier, it's still going to take effort and time because it actually works, okay? So let's begin real change. Shifting your paradigm, step 0 of internal change. I like to believe humans have infinite potential. Albert Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge because knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. But this potential is often limited due to something called paradigms. A paradigm is how you perceive reality, and how you perceive reality or how you see reality determines how you act in life, and how you act in life determines what you get in life, okay? And this is how it works because the way you perceive reality is purely subjective, which means your personal view is neither right or wrong. It is indifferent to the objective truth, which is the world, right? The earth, this is the world, okay? The earth or the world has objective truths. Rocks are made of rock, gravity exists, and there's oxygen in the air, yada, 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 right? But the human can have subjective truths as they are the subject, okay? So even though the objective world stays the same, these subjective paradigms can change the way the object presents itself to you. So for example, person A has a paradigm that says, I love metal music, and person B has a paradigm that says, I hate metal music, okay? Now, they're both listening to the exact same things. Objectively, these are the same exact frequencies that are emitted in a certain way, and these frequencies being metal music, whatever metal song, right? Slipknot or whatever. And these two people are listening to the same exact thing, same exact frequencies, same song, same lyrics, whatever, right? But because of their paradigms, their realities are drastically different, right? Person A is having the time of his life listening to metal music, but person B is like fucking dying with his ears. He's covering his ears are bleeding, like he hates it, right? So objectively, the music stays the same, but it elicits a completely different reaction. And here, we can't say that the reactions felt by person A or person B is wrong because it's purely subjective. You know, person A can't say, hey, person B, you're just acting. You actually like metal music. You're just acting, blah, blah, blah. And then person B can say, no, you're acting. You don't like metal music. And it's like, it's subjective, right? You can't say that person B is right. You can't say that person A is right. Neither can you say that they're wrong. So the point is to know that a paradigm can drastically change someone's reality, even though things stay objectively the same. So now that you know this, In the next few slides, I'm going to introduce a certain paradigm that gives you access to this infinite potential. But the caveat is that you need to be open to it. Because 9 times out of 10, you probably have a paradigm right now that is limiting you from reaching this full potential, okay? So let me start by asking you a question. Who is responsible, right? How did you end up in a state of feeling lost and empty in life? How did you develop a fear of failure? When did you acquire this crippling self-doubt and imposter syndrome? Who is to blame for everything negative that happens to you in your life? Is it your parents? Is it your environment? Is it your boss? Is it your teacher? Is it your friends? No, it's you. It's always been and always will be you. And that is the first paradigm shift, okay? Right now, your paradigm is probably, oh, because of the system, my life is like this. Oh, because of school, my life is like this. Oh, because of my boss, because of my parents, because of my friends, because of my influences, blah, 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 right? No, it's you. And that's the first paradigm you need to shift. You are the reason why you're here, okay? It's a hard pill to swallow, but everything is your fault. I know it's not what you want to hear, but you are to blame for your current situations in life. Whether it's good or bad, yes, there are experiences, influences, and traumas that play a role, but you are the only one that has full control over yourself. This is the paradigm I want you to shift. It's all my fault. I'm the only one with full control over myself. Marcus Aurelius says you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength, okay? When you realize, when you accept the harsh truth, when you realize that it's all your fault, you gain this ability to have full control over yourself. But if you blame outside circumstances, you're giving away this control. You're giving away this responsibility, okay? Because when you admit that it's all your fault, when you admit that you're the reason for everything that happens in your life, that's when you unlock your full potential. You give yourself the power to change your whole life and reality. And this is one of, if not the biggest reasons why so many people struggle to change themselves. They don't have this paradigm because they would rather be a victim and blame everything else but themselves. Oh, it's just the way I am. Oh, I can't change because I've had a hard life. Oh, my boss doesn't like me, so I'll never get promoted. The system is rigged against people like me. Oh, I can't lose weight because of my genetics. Oh, I live in a poor area, blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. See, if you don't assume responsibility and accountability, then you have no control, which means you have no ability to choose, which means it's almost impossible for you to change. So if you don't assume this paradigm now, you are quite literally nerfing your potential. It's like trying to win a 100-meter sprint with a blindfold on, but you also have no legs. Exactly. This is step 0 of internal change. Unless you adopt this paradigm, you cannot continue further. I know this isn't pleasant news, but like I said, I'm here to give you the harsh truth because I genuinely care about you. I'm not trying to hate on you or anything. I'm not trying to bring you down. This comes from a place of love, okay? And all I ask is for you to have the humility and courage to accept this as your truth, because if you don't take the blame, everything I'm about to tell you will be useless. Now, if you're confused on how you're supposed to change your paradigms, don't worry, because I'll show you exactly how to shift your paradigms very soon. But just keep this in mind, okay? You need to accept everything as your blame, as your fault, okay? I will gladly give you the roadmap to becoming your best self with a smile, but I can't make you do the actions, okay? So please respect my time and effort I put into this video, and most importantly, respect yourself. You only get one chance at life, and you need to be the main character of your story. So how did we get here? You know, now that we know that it's technically your fault, but the thing is you were also heavily influenced, right? After all, we are a result of our programming. Every paradigm, belief, opinion, etc., it's all a result of your experiences. You may swear a lot when speaking because you grew up with parents that swore a lot. You may find racist jokes funny because your friend group frequently made racist jokes. You may think courses are a scam because all the courses you bought didn't give you your money's worth. This applies to every single thing in your life. Quite literally, what you experience shapes who you are. You are the average sum of the 5 people around you. It's built in our biological code. Okay? Your experience equals your reality. So it starts off with an experience, and this gets passed through you, and then you develop these beliefs, paradigms, and opinions, and etc. because of these experiences, which then form your identity. Okay? And in order to change internally, you need to change your identity, which changes your reality. And this is step 1 of internal change. Okay? How do we change our identity? Well, all we have to do is just reverse engineer. Okay? We simply need to change your beliefs and paradigms because this is what makes up our identity. So the main goal of changing internally is actually just changing your identity, which is really just changing your beliefs and paradigms that are holding you back from becoming him. Now, I know it's a lot to take in and it might get very confusing, but keep watching because it's all going to be very clear very soon, okay? To defeat the enemy, we must know the enemy. What exactly do you need to change about yourself to become unrecognizable? Well, how do we find out what to change? And how do we change it, right? Two things, self-reflection and reverse engineering. The reason why it's so hard for you to change is because you were never aware of the true problem within. And today is your lucky day because I decided to make it easy for you by creating a resource to help you find these beliefs and paradigms holding you back and show you exactly how to change them. So, internal change resource. This is the one that's going to make everything clear and easy, okay? So here we are in the identity overhaul. Introduction. Now that you understand real change begins internally, it's time to create a new identity by rewiring your paradigms and beliefs. So 1. Essential paradigms and beliefs for change. The first paradigm you need to shift is to accept that your potential is limitless, okay? And you have full control over who you become. Your identity is an energy that can be molded by experiences. Experiences equals beliefs and paradigms equals your identity equals your reality, okay? Since you are aware that you can control your experiences, this awareness alone has given you access to your true potential. Unless you think this is all bullshit, which is going to keep you stuck in the limited potential, right? The next paradigm is you are 100% responsible for your life. So no blaming external circumstances, no waiting for motivation. Now the third paradigm is the past does not define you. Your past failures, mistakes, and weaknesses are irrelevant unless you let them define you. Fourth paradigm is reality is a reflection of your inner world. Your inner world is made up of thoughts, beliefs, and paradigms, and they shape everything you experience. And then the fifth one is the current you is a result of past conditioning. If you don't change internally, your external world will stay the same. And finally, change is possible and easy for you specifically. And I want you to believe this. Okay, even if it's not true, not objectively true, I want you to have this paradigm. I want you to have faith in this, okay? Change is possible and easy for you specifically. Change has always been possible, and it's been proven countless times in history. If you know David Goggins, then you know, right? But I want you to believe it's easy for you. Yes, you specifically. Not much explanation behind it. You just seem to find it easier than most. David Goggins went through hell for change, but for you, it almost happens naturally, and I just know it. And keep telling yourself this until it's immortalized, okay? Now, step 2 is to set the sails. Before we start the transformation, we need to know where our destination is. So let's set your sails in alignment with your desired self. So answer these questions in extreme detail. So spend hours or even days if you need, okay? And I want you to think as big as possible, so don't hold back. Now, remember, you need to evolve into a completely different person, so don't hold back and go like as ambitious as possible, okay? So answer these questions. If you were already at your highest level, what beliefs and paradigms would you have? And list out as many as possible. How would your desired self handle fear, doubt, and failure? And then if a genie came and offered you 3 core beliefs that would apply instantaneously, what belief would you choose if you wanted to make change effortless for you? And then lastly, describe your desired self's identity in a third person's perspective. And for every one of these resources, if you ever feel lost on how to answer these questions and you're wondering like, oh, should I answer it this way? Should I answer it that way? Always scroll down, okay? And you'll find my real personal example, the same one I used 2 years ago, okay? And use this as a guide and do not copy, okay? If you copy these, you'll end up changing into me, basically. So you don't want to copy anything, but you want to copy how I answer these questions, okay? Use them as a guide. If you're like confused on how to answer these, how deep should you go, how in-depth should you go, use these as a guide. Now we have step 3, repair your vessel. Now that we have set your sails to your destination, your desired self, we need to repair the vessel for damage and holes to make sure we make it to the destination safely. Okay, so I want you to imagine you're sailing on a pirate ship to your destination, which is your desired self, and right now your pirate ship has damage and holes, and we need to make sure to patch it up to make sure that you make it to your destination safely, okay? And trust me, if you think you don't have damage, you have damage, okay? Everyone has damage. So answer these questions in extreme detail. So look for the holes and damage everywhere, don't miss a spot. So what current beliefs and paradigms are keeping you from your full potential? Then what mental loops do you catch yourself repeating? For example, I'm not disciplined, success is for others, oh, I don't have time. And finally, what fears and doubts stop you from taking action? Then step 3.5, what caused these holes? Now that you've found the holes and damage that need to be fixed, let's first find out how it got there in the first place. So Where did these beliefs and paradigms come from? Was it your parents? Was it school, social media, past failures? And are they absolutely true, or are they just assumptions you've accepted? And then how have these beliefs shaped your life so far? And then last but not least, if you continue believing these beliefs for 5 more years, where will you end up? Okay, now step 4 is time to begin change. Now it's time to actually patch up all the holes, fix all the damage so we can get to our destination safely. The old identity must be completely erased and the new one must be reinforced every single day. So spot the contradiction. What beliefs from step 3 to 3.5 directly contradict the beliefs in step 2? So you want to take your desired self-beliefs, the destination, aka your beliefs and paradigms from step 2, and put them down here, and then your current beliefs and paradigms, which is the holes and damage from step 3 and 3.5, and put them here. Now I want you to look at them both and dismantle and shift the limiting beliefs and paradigms, which you can scroll down from my personal example. And you want to reprogram yourself with repetition. How can you remind yourself of these new paradigms daily? How could you go from, oh, I'm not disciplined to I'm the most disciplined person in the world? Is it through affirmations? Is it through visual reminders? Is it through a dream self-script, right? Now, other than that, you need to continue the loop, right? Which is the final step. After you have set your sails to your destination and fixed all the damage and holes on your vessel to make sure you get there safely, the final thing we have to do is continue guiding our boat until we get to our destination, because boats do need a captain after all, right? So what does this mean? Well, knowing what beliefs and paradigms to enforce has begun the loop, so we need to continue it by taking action, okay? So let's begin. What small daily action can reinforce this new identity or new paradigm? So for example, if your new paradigm is I am disciplined, what's one small discipline building action can you do to reinforce this identity instantly? And since you are used to reinforcing your current identity, what habits need to be eliminated in order for you to stop reinforcing this old identity? For example, if the old you was a procrastinator, you can delete distracting apps immediately to reinforce that you are in the beginning of change. Big waves, strong winds, and storms will come hit you on your journey, so you need to stay focused and sharp. Your current self will fight back, so what daily mental practice will keep you aligned and focused? So for example, journaling as your future self, morning visualizations, affirmations, whatever that thing is, do it, okay? Now remember, you must live your new identity through action or your paradigm won't shift. You must live your new identity through action or your paradigm won't shift, okay? That is basically how you begin to shift your paradigms and create a new identity and begin internal change. So back to the slides. Once you have changed internally, you are ready to see real change. You can finally leave the person that is holding you back and become the person you always wanted to be. As I mentioned in the beginning, alignment is the act of aligning your beliefs, identity, and habits to your desired self. That is how you achieve real change, okay? And since we have aligned your beliefs and identity to your desired self, all we have to do now is become that guy externally, which will be pretty easy because you're technically already that guy internally. So part 3, reinventing reality, changing externally with the core 5. Now, your day is getting luckier and luckier by the second because I have another resource that makes external change easy. Realignment Roadmap, External Change Resource. So here we are in the Realignment Roadmap. Now, introduction. Now that you have begun to change internally and you've aligned your beliefs, paradigms, and identity to your desired self, we can now start to manifest this into reality by changing externally, so let's fucking go. Step 1 is questioning. This step helps you visualize the physical version of your desired self, because without a clear picture, it's impossible to align your actions with your goals. Start by closing your eyes and imagine your desired self and answer these questions in extreme detail. So, physical. What does your dream self look and feel like every day? Now for the mental. What does your dream self think about most? Spiritual. What gets your dream self out of bed in the morning? And then financial. How does your dream self spend most of their time working or creating? Now finally, the social core, which is who does your dream self spend the most time with and why? Then we have mapping, step 2. Now depending on your answer in step 1, write down 3 habits you do every day for each core. And then write down 3 habits you think your dream self would do. This step shows you the gap between who you are now and who you want to be. By understanding this gap, you can focus on building habits that bring you closer to your desired self. So your current self's physical habits, mental habits, spiritual habits, financial habits, and social habits, write them all down. And then your dream self's physical habits, mental habits, spiritual habits, financial habits, social habits, you get the point, right? And you want to compare them both. Then it's time to define, right? Now it's time to combine every single thing you wrote down and write a paragraph that defines in detail a day in the life of your desired self. So start from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, and save it and read it as an affirmation twice a day on top of your deep desire. This will keep you focused until you reach alignment. And finally, we have your North Star. Your North Star is your guiding light, the 5 tasks that keep you aligned with your dream self. And these daily actions are small steps that, when done consistently, will transform you into the person you've envisioned. So how to create your North Star? Using everything you've written so far, identify one small, realistic action for each core 5 area, which is the physical, mental, spiritual, financial, and social. And these tasks should: 1. Be simple enough to do every day, no matter what. 2. Align with the habits and visions of your dream self. And 3. Help you build consistency and momentum. So write down your name here, and then your daily tasks of your dream self, and then start taking action on them immediately. Now again, if you ever feel confused, you can scroll down and see how to answer these. And these are my real personal answers, so do not copy them, okay? If you feel lost, just scroll through and you should know how to answer them, okay? So back to the slides. Now remember, this isn't going to be instant, okay? If you've started to begin internal change, the old you is going to fight back by sending these negative thoughts at double the power. But if you applied the resources correctly, you should know how to fight the negativity with positivity and back it up with action for the feedback loop. Everyone gets these negative thoughts, not just you. The difference is what you do with them. Doing nothing is the wrong thing to do. So let's give you the best odds possible. I've already provided you with the resources that will help you change internally and externally. But I think that's not enough. You need all the help you can get. So let's make change easy. The 3 weapons to stay consistent. The first weapon is baby steps. As humans, our brains are hardwired for immediate decisive action, a trait that once helped our ancestors survive sudden threats. And this all or nothing impulse comes from our brain regions like the limbic system, which drives quick emotional responses and the pursuit of instant rewards. And this is from Google, okay? I didn't come up with this. Well, why do I tell you this though? Well, because of this trait, we struggle to stay consistent in the context of change or a task that delays rewards or gratification. So I bet your first instinct was to start applying all the resources and lessons right after finishing this video. But that's how you set yourself up for failure. See, although your intent is good, it's almost impossible for you to go from your current self to your dream self in 24 hours. It's a big change, so it takes time. When you go from doing nothing to doing 12 different tasks with different routines, all you're doing is overwhelming yourself. And it's one of the biggest reasons why you and most people quit after a few days or a week. So to counter this, baby steps, a method taught by a friend. Say you're addicted to smoking and you've been wanting to quit for years now. Instead of quitting all at once, start with the smallest step you can take, a baby step. Think so small that you wouldn't notice. So if you smoke 8 cigs a day, for example, start smoking 7.8 cigs. So don't remove one whole cig yet because it's too noticeable. Instead, on your last cig of the day, don't smoke it all the way, like leave a little bit. Then after you're used to smoking 7.8 cigs, so like leaving a little bit until it becomes routine, then you can go to 7.5, so leaving a little bit more, right? You get the gist. Once it becomes a new normal, then you take another baby step. So in the case of change and taking action, whether internally or externally, you don't need to start changing 5 beliefs or take 5 new actions. Start as small as you can. You don't want to notice it because once it becomes routine, then you can add another belief or change another habit, okay? And that's because there's one unbreakable rule with baby steps. That's if you take a step, whatever you can do, you can never go back. So drill it in your head. Once you take a baby step, it's forbidden to take one back. So always go as small as you dare. So if you've started smoking 7.5 cigs, you're not allowed to go back to 8 ever, okay? That is the unbreakable rule. Now, second is not discipline, my personal weapon. Most people in the self-improvement space talk about discipline over motivation to stay consistent, right? But doing things even when you don't feel like it isn't enough for some people like myself. So I found something that is so much stronger than discipline, and if you get this right, you will have the same discipline as David Goggins, which, for your information, he actually uses this instead of discipline. And this is why, your desire or your purpose. Since purpose is quite advanced, I'm going to talk about your desire. So if you want to stay consistent, having a why is mandatory. That's why before starting, I asked you if you were serious about changing. I was testing your desire because at its core, there's nothing stronger than your desires. Take a pen and paper right now and answer this question. Why do you want to change? Now, save what you wrote down because it is most likely something shallow which doesn't give you enough drive to complete alignment. And if you're wondering what a shallow desire looks like, here they are. So physical appearance, to attract attention or admiration from others. If you want to change just to attract attention or validation, shallow. Status and recognition, if you're trying to change to feel superior to peers who aren't improving, shallow. Financial and career, if you're trying to change to buy luxury items like cars, watches, or vacations, shallow. If you're trying to change for romantic relationships to get revenge on an ex by looking better or more successful, shallow. If you're trying to change to feel respected or to be looked up to by peers, shallow. And if you're trying to change to avoid feeling left behind while others succeed, shallow. And finally, if you're trying to change to make an ex-bully or rival regret doubting you, shallow. Now this doesn't constitute all shallow desires. There's so much more, and I can go on for like another hour on what shallow desires are. But shallow desires are basically ego-driven desires, right? To get revenge, to get more money, to basically chasing shallow things that benefit only you, right? But when you try to change with these shallow desires, you don't get enough motivation, or you don't have enough of a will to continue taking these hard actions every single day. So, if your desire for change is shallow, it's time to find the true desire, okay? So we're gonna do something called peeling the onion, which is finding out your true, deepest, darkest desire. So take your shallow desire and ask, why do I want this? Repeatedly 3 to 5 times, and each answer should dig deeper. So if your surface shallow desire is, I want to make more money, I want to change because I want to make more money, then you ask, why? Why do you want to make more money? Well, I want to change so I can make more money, so I can quit my job. Well, why do you want to quit your job? Well, because I want control over my life. And then you go even deeper, ask, why do you want control over your life? And then you want to keep asking why until you get to the core desire, okay? Because I'm tired of feeling powerless. I want to change because I want to make more money so I can quit my job because I want control over my life because I'm tired of feeling powerless. And that is your deep desire. You're tired of feeling powerless, okay? So take that core desire, and I'm going to list out multiple deep desires, and I want you to write down the ones that you relate to or your core relates to the most, and it could be one or multiple. So, first is freedom, to live life on their own terms, to escape financial struggles or restrictions, to have control over their time and decisions, to achieve independence from a 9-to-5 job, societal expectations, or unhealthy relationships. And then 2, we have self-worth, to feel capable, valuable, and respected by others, to prove to themselves that they can achieve greatness, to overcome feelings of failure or inadequacy, to become the best version of themselves. And then we have connection, to build meaningful relationships with family, friends, or a partner, to inspire or lead others, to feel seen, loved, or appreciated by their community, to be part of something greater than themselves. And then 4, we have impact, to leave a legacy that lasts beyond their lifetime, to make a difference in other people's lives, to contribute to cause they believe in, to feel like their life has meaning or significance. And then we have security, to feel safe and stable in life, free from constant worry, to provide for their family or for future generations, and then to have foundation they can depend on, both financially and emotionally. And then we have growth, to constantly evolve, learn, and achieve new things, to overcome challenges, improve their resilience, to push past their limits and unlock their full potential, to feel fulfilled by their progress and achievements. So, after all those deep desires, I want you to create a deep desire statement. So the template is, I'm going to change my identity so I can deep desire. So take your core, compare your core with all those deep desires, and then find out what your deep desire is, and then apply it to this template. So a personal example is, I'm going to change my identity so I can inspire and make a difference in other people's lives. Hence, I'm making these videos for free, right? And then another example could be, I'm going to change my identity so I can push past my limits and unlock my full potential. Now, the journey to alignment is dark, so you need a guiding light. This deep desire statement will act as your guiding light, so keep it safe. Write it down, save it, and read it twice a day. Okay, and whenever you feel like you don't want to take action, read it. Okay, and remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place, why you're trying to change. Okay, and then the third weapon is resistance, and this is from Steven Pressfield's Do the Work. Now, resistance isn't really a weapon; it's actually our common enemy. It's not physical; it's mental and emotional. It's designed to stop you from making progress. It's this invisible force holding you back from transforming into your desired self. It's the voice of doubt, fear, and procrastination that tells you to stay comfortable. And since I can't give you a straight definition of what resistance is, here are the characteristics of it. The characteristics. Resistance is invisible. Resistance cannot be seen, heard, touched, or smelled, but it can be felt. Resistance is a repelling force. It's negative. Its aim is to shove us away, distract us, prevent us from doing our work. Resistance is insidious. Resistance will tell you anything to keep you from doing your work. It will fabricate, falsify, seduce, and bully. Resistance is protein. It will assume any form if that's what it takes to deceive you. Resistance will reason with you like a lawyer or jam a gun in your face like a mugger. Resistance has no conscience. It will pledge anything to get a deal and then double-cross you as soon as your back is turned. If you take resistance at its word, you deserve everything you get. Resistance is always lying and always full of shit. Now, resistance is impersonal. It's not out to get you personally. It doesn't know who you are and it doesn't care. Resistance is a force of nature. It acts objectively. Though it feels malevolent, resistance, in fact, is a law of nature. So when we fight it, we must remember this, okay? Resistance is infallible. Like a magnetized needle floating on the surface of oil, resistance will unfailingly point to that calling or action it most wants to stop us from doing. But this is good because we can use it as a compass. We can navigate by resistance, letting it guide us to our calling or purpose that we must follow before all others. So the rule of thumb is, the more important your journey to alignment is, the more resistance we will feel towards pursuing it. Then we have resistance is universal. We're wrong if we think we're the only ones struggling with resistance. Everyone who has a body experiences it. Okay? And then we have resistance never sleeps. The fear will never go away. The warrior and the artist live by the same code of necessity, which dictate that the battle must be fought anew every single day. Now, resistance plays for keeps. Resistance goal is not to wound or disable. Its aim is to kill. Its target is the epicenter of our being, our genius, our soul, the unique, priceless gift we were put on this earth to give, and that no one else has but us. Resistance means business, so when we fight it, we are in a war to the death. Now, to give you a better chance to defeat resistance, here are the principles you need to know. And again, this is inspired from the book, Do the Work by Steven Pressfield. Principle number 1, there is an enemy. The first principle of resistance is that there is an enemy. There's an intelligent, active, malign force working against us. And step 1 is to recognize this. This recognition alone is enormously powerful. It saved my life and it will save yours. Principle number 2, the enemy is implacable. The hostile, malicious force that we're experiencing now is not a joke. It is not to be trifled with or taken lightly. It is for real. It will kill you, and it will kill you like cancer. This enemy is intelligent, protein, implacable, inextinguishable, and utterly ruthless and destructive. Its aim is not to obstruct or to hamper or to impede. Its aim is to kill. And this is the second principle of resistance. Now, the third principle is the enemy is inside you. Pat Riley, when he was a coach for the Lakers, had a term for all these off-court forces like fame and ego, not to mention the crazed fans, the press, agents, sponsors, and ex-wives that worked against the players' chances for on-court success. He called these forces peripheral opponents. But resistance is not a peripheral opponent. It does not arise from rivals, bosses, spouses, children, terrorists, lobbyists, or political adversaries. It comes from us, okay? You can board a spaceship to Pluto and settle all by yourself into a cozy little shack 10 zillion miles from Earth, but resistance will still be with you. And that's because the enemy is inside you. Principle number 4, the enemy is inside you, but it is not you. So what does that mean? It means you are not to blame for the voices of resistance, okay? They are not your fault. You have done nothing wrong, and you have not committed any sin. I have that same voice in my head, so did Picasso and Einstein. If you've got a head, you've got a voice of resistance inside it. Because the enemy is in you, but it is not you. No moral judgment attaches to the possessions of it. You have resistance the same way you have a heartbeat. You are blameless. You retain free will and the capacity to act. Now we have principle number 5. The dream self must duel the current self. On the field of the self stands a knight and dragon. The dream self is the knight. The current self, resistance, is the dragon. And there's no way to be nice to the dragon, or to reason with it, or to negotiate with it, or beam a white light around it and make it your friend. The dragon belches fire and lives only to block you from becoming your dream self. And it's been charged to stop you till its final breath. The only intercourse possible between the knight and the dragon is battle. And this contest is life and death. Principle number 6, resistance arises second. The sixth principle of resistance, and the key to overcoming it, is that resistance arises second. What comes first is the idea, the passion, the desired self we are so excited to become that it scares the hell out of us. Resistance is the response of this frightened, petty, small-time ego to the brave, generous, magnificent impulse of the dream self, or the desired self. Resistance is the shadow cast by the desired self's sun. So what does this mean to us? It means that before the dragon of resistance reared its ugly head and breathed fire onto our faces, there existed within us a force so potent and life-affirming that it summoned this beast into being. Conversely, to combat it, it means that at bottom, resistance is not the towering, all-powerful monster that we should be scared of. No, resistance is more like the pain-in-the-ass school teacher who won't let us climb that tree in the playground. Because the urge to climb came first though, right? And that urge is love. The opposite of fear is love. Love for the challenge, love for the work, the purest, joyous passion to become our desired selves, to escape this mediocre life and see if we can pull it off. Now, principle number 7, last but not least, the opposite of resistance is assistance. In myths and legends, the knight is always aided in his quest to slay the dragon, right? Jason had Medea when he went after the gold fleece. Augeas had the goddess of Athena to guide him home. In Native American myths, our totemic ally is often an animal, a magic raven, say, or a talking coyote. In Norse myths, it's an old crone, sometimes assists the hero. In African legends, it's often a bird. The 3 wise men were guided by a star. And all these characters or forces represent assistance. I am assistance to you. This video right now is assistance. And these are all types of assistance to aid the battle between your current self and the dream self or the desired self. So how do we ultimately defeat resistance? Well, there's only one weapon that is effective towards resistance. Only one. And that is the work. Okay? It's you versus you, literally. And what exactly is your work? Well, take the boxing example, right? Pick a small, actionable task from your North Star and then do it now. You know, do some jabs. Take a task from the North Star and do it now. Bang, bang, right? Jab, jab, jab. Then we have the cross, which is using the community's help. You know, lean on the help of like-minded people for accountability and support, because isolation strengthens resistance. And then we have the hook, which is committing to the long game. Resistance doesn't vanish, and it will always show up tomorrow and next week. So commit to showing up daily anyways. And then finally, we have the uppercut, which is detaching from the ego. So don't aim for perfection, just focus on showing up. Now, in your journey to seeking alignment and becoming your desired self, you're going to go through 3 battles with resistance. In the beginning, the way resistance is going to haunt you is with fear, procrastination, over-planning, and perfectionism to stop you from taking that first step. And the solution is just to commit fully and just start before you're ready. Break the project into simple parts, or break your transformation into simple parts, right? And I already did that for you with the resources. And just take action, okay? Who cares if it's not perfect? Who cares if you're not ready? Just do it, okay? Don't listen to resistance, just fucking do it. And then we have the middle game, right? In the middle of your journey to becoming your desired self. Resistance is gonna try to give you doubt, distractions, and fatigue, you know? And the solution is just to push through. Build systems and habits to sustain that momentum you've built from starting, and treat alignment like a professional, you know, show up daily no matter what, never miss a day. And then finally, we have your last battle with resistance, which is the moment right before you become your desired self. And resistance is going to give you fear of failure or a fear of success, some more perfectionism and panic. Now the solution is just to finish the work, no matter how flawed, and just get shit done and just follow through, okay? Because once you do that, you just showed the universe and you showed resistance that you have changed into a brand new person. And that is basically the 3 battles you will face with resistance. You need to understand that resistance is a natural part of any meaningful endeavor. So the more it hurts, the more it scares you, the more it makes you tired, the more it matters, the more it works, the more you win, okay? And I want you to repeat this mantra every time you feel resistance. If I feel resistance, it means I'm on the right path. I will act anyway. If I feel resistance, it means I'm on the right path. I will act anyway. Okay, repeat this mantra. Now it's time for the final part. Part 4, reality engineering, which is about your environment. Now, consumption directly influences your life. So all the information you consume directly influences your identity and reality. So even if you fully control yourself and you change yourself internally and externally, you can still have the same struggles if you don't fix your environment. So I'm going to be explaining all the types of information that are negatively influencing you. So first is the media. What type of media do you consume on a daily basis? If it's sad media, you're going to be sad. You will also have a sad outlook on life because you'll turn a blind eye to positivity and focus on negativity that will make you sad, right? Then if you're always consuming drama, then your life will probably be full of drama. You'll also love to participate in gossip, and you'll most likely live in chaos with little to no control over life. Then we have fear, which is usually the news, because the news likes to fearmonger. And when you watch the news all the time, you'll start to see the glass half empty, and you'll always have something bad to say, which leads to an unenjoyable life. And finally, we have, short form content or short form media. And, this fries your fucking dopamine receptors. And this is because it gives you quick bursts of dopamine abundantly, and it's going to make you more numb and fuck up your attention span, which is obviously not good when you want to change into a more disciplined person or into a better person in general, right? Okay? Same thing. When you listen to sad music and when you sing the lyrics emotionally and you memorize all the words, you will start affirming whatever story the song is portraying into your life, making you sad. Okay, and then we have modern R&B, which has lustful lyrics. And this leads you to committing lust, making you lose self-control. I believe nowadays, the next generation is starting to become much more lustful as people, because a lot of the music, the mainstream music nowadays, has very, very lustful lyrics, and it's kind of setting this paradigm that we're normalizing lust and people are just more lustful in general, but that's just my personal opinion. But anyways, I digress. Next, we have emo rap or gangster rap. Back then, I always didn't understand why my parents didn't like me listening to it until I started doing the things they were rapping about, and now I understand it was a bad influence. But here's the thing. I'm not trying to say that you can't listen to music, you can't watch Netflix, you can't do anything fun anymore. No. Life is about balance, all right? You don't have to completely cut these things off, just do it in moderation. Don't bed rot all day watching sad movies while listening to sad music, while also scrolling on social media. That's how you get depressed. Okay, that's all I'm trying to say. You can still listen to your sad music, you can still listen to your mainstream R&B, you can still watch your drama, just don't overdo it to the point where it can influence you, okay? Just know that the media you consume affects you, or it affects who you are as a person, okay? Because to be frank, the information you consume definitely plays a role in your identity and life, but it's pretty minor. The biggest influence in the context of your environment is actually people. And you've heard this a million times. The reason it's so repeated often is because it's true. You are the average sum of the 5 people you hang around with. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. If you look at the people in your circle and you don't get inspired, then you don't have a circle, you have a cage. And there's actual science behind this, because we humans are social creatures and we're simply wired that way. I could give you a whole other presentation of science-backed research on why we should watch the people we surround ourselves with, but this isn't school, this is just a fucking YouTube video. So I've simplified it into one line. So there's mirror neurons, which means our brains mirror behaviors we observe. Then we have neuroplasticity, which is repeated interactions shaping our brain pathways. Then we have social learning, where we learn by watching and imitating others. Then we have reward systems, which is positive feedback from peers reinforcing habits. And we have oxytocin, which boosts bonding and trust during social interactions. And finally, we have social contagion, which is emotions and behaviors spread within networks. That is basically the science behind it, ultra simplified into like one line where you can just barely understand it. But yeah, I just want you to know that it's fucking important, okay? You need to watch the people around you. Because if you surround yourself with flat earthers, you would probably become a flat earther. And even if you didn't, you would know a lot about the flat earth theory, because that's all they talk about, right? And then if you surround yourself with dumb teens who care about who made out with who and where the next house party is, you're most likely going to become one, because you'll get bullied for being lame if you don't. And then if you surround yourself with people who want to change for the better and all they talk about is how to become a better person, a more efficient way to do X or Y, you'll have a much easier time trying to change for the better, right? It's common sense. So before the surprise, I have one thing to say. The alignment philosophy doesn't look down on people who want to drink, who want to lay in bed all day, whatever, right? We actually condone it in a sense. I believe you should do what truly fulfills you in life as of now. You see, the thing that truly makes you happy will always change, depending on you, your age, and your environment. Right now, what truly makes you happy is the idea of changing into a better person and completely upgrading your life, right? But taking the dumb teen, for example, they find happiness from gossiping and drinking and partying. So I wouldn't want them to do anything else if they are truly happy from it. Because the point of alignment is to align yourself with the life you want to live in the current moment. This way of life, I believe, will lead to a life without regrets. If you're trying to change with shallow desires, like to look better than other people or to prove people wrong, then I suggest you shouldn't change. Just do whatever you want to do in life. And then when you genuinely want to change and when you genuinely want to take life seriously, then you can start to commit into change, okay? If you're kind of half-assed, if you have a shallow desire, then you're just going to end up regretting it. Like, trust me, you are going to regret it. So please keep that in mind. Now for the surprise. I understand how difficult it is to find like-minded people. It's one of the biggest reasons why most people are still in a circle that is holding them back. It's because they don't have anyone to actually connect with outside of their circle. You know, if they do end up cutting them off, who are they going to hang out with? They're just going to be alone, right? And not many people like to be alone. So I decided to make things easy with a free community. And yes, I know everyone in the self-improvement space talks about their like-minded community, but I promise this one will be different. It will include quality people because I want to create a community that people will actually find valuable. People that aren't really serious about change, or they're just, they're not taking any action, they're just watching videos and videos. They're not welcome in my community. I will have to kick them out. So that means I'll have to create sacrifices like kicking and banning people that aren't serious or is a bad influence. But for those that end up staying and actually taking action, they will change in no time, and I can guarantee that. Because I genuinely care about you, and I want to see you win, okay? So if you're truly serious about changing your life for the better, then join in the description below. It's completely free, okay? So that was the video. Congratulations for making it all the way to the end. That was alignment and my philosophy for change. All there is to do now is to go down to the descriptions, download the resources below, join the community, and then show me that you're taking action. I'll be active in the community. If you have any questions, you can talk to me directly, okay? I'm willing to help you for free, genuinely. So all you have to do now, scroll down, go to the description, download the resources below, join the community, and that's all you need to do. No more videos, no more motivational reels, nothing else. All you have to do is take action. And it's not just today either, okay? Don't just take action today. I want you to take action tomorrow, and the day after, 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 until you've become a completely new person, okay? So, once again, I congratulate you, and I thank you for making it all the way to the end. So, if you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to take action, and I'll see you in the community, okay? Just know that I'm rooting for you.